In this example of students' work dealing with the hypothetical paradigm from a particular instance with the Andrew Words case, I want to show you what a strong uh, uh, model looks like. All right, the student did a lot of things right here, and I want you to compare your work with this one, and it will explain to you why you got the A, B, or C that you did based on the strengths here. Now, I would have preferred to see a title up there, but the essay starts strong with the name of the article capitalized correctly, more or less, uh, and a pretty decent summary. All right. Now, if you can't read this, expand your screen, and then if you want to read it yourself, you can pause it, the video, and just read it. But I'll read it through quickly. It's about a man who appeared to kill himself. Okay, he'd fallen behind on his mortgage payments. He also made a splash on the internet and earned notoriety for his fight to keep animals on his property. Now, there are some things that could have been done better. You know, there needs to be a period here and that sort of thing. And I would like to have seen the name of the author who wrote this. And also, it's about a man, something like maybe named Andrew Words. Okay, there you go. But see, because then Words shows up right here, but unless you mention it before that, it's a little confusing. Words had lived in his home for a long time. On the day of explosion, Words apparently barricaded himself. Shortly after, he poured gasoline all over his house. And okay, so that was the summary. But the next thing I asked you to do was to write a section in which you show the progression of conflict. All right, and this student was able to see that the conflict extended outward away from Words into a larger arena, but also it changed its mode from personal to impersonal. The battle for Words' chickens all began with his neighbors. At first, he only kept a few chickens. Okay, neighbors were fine with that. However, then when he got a dozen more, they began to complain. This was personal issue. So Words could interact with them face to face. He knew where they lived, could walk to their houses, and they could come to him. Then as neighbors complained more and more, the city legislation got involved. They got Words' attention with letters and papers, not face to face. So the student is making a point, the type of tension and conflict is changing, the mode is changing, and the extent is changing. So this is good. This is a good analysis. In this way, the fight to keep his chickens expanded to the point where Woods did not know exactly who the enemies were. That's a very good point, all right? The fight kept expanding all the way to the state. So the student is using language here about expanding and growing, and this is following very closely with the Section 2 requirements. So there was an excellent job done here. So you got from the neighbors to the city to the state, and then it says when the battle reached a national level, okay? As these things happened, the enemy became more and more undefined and impersonal. So you see the expansion is taking place not only geographically but socially. Excellent job in that second section by whoever wrote this. Now, at the third section, you had to try to find the pattern and abstract it and generalize it, right? And that's what the student tries to do. The paradigm of a personal problem expanding into impersonal and undefined regions begins with a decision. The person heading down this path will likely make a decision that only affects themselves, such as using drugs, etc., etc. Then this decision begins to affect the immediate people around them. By immediate, I mean neighbors, friends. Okay, once this has happened, word spreads. If this decision begins to be too much of a problem, the city might get involved. Not like before, the person cannot see who is battling or them or interacting with them face to face. As this decision becomes more and more of a problem, and the person does not fix the problem, larger and more undefined organizations become involved. So again, this is a really good explanation of the pattern. The first sentence really is an excellent articulation of this, and then this just carries it out. And then we have an actual example. An example is Lindsay Lohan, and this person takes us through the example. Now, one thing I want you to notice here is the control of writing in this essay. This student knew exactly what I was asking in each section and provided it copiously. In other words, this student had enough material. So I look at some models that come in and you're woefully short. I mean, you're not even meeting my basic requirements. Or if you are, it's just barely there. And anytime I see something that's just barely there, I wonder whether you had to stretch the last line or two to get there. So you should always go a couple lines over my minimum requirements to just allow me to think that you really had a handle on what you were doing. And when I can see that expansion in your own writing, and not see any redundant filler, that really impresses me. I sense that you have that you are in control of the assignment, not that the assignment is controlling you. So this is an example of a good strong A, and I hope that um, you can recognize these qualities and then take a look at your work and say, do I have those qualities here? If I don't, how can I put them in?